welcome to City TV, and I'm Kelly, and I'm joined by the wonderful Ben Shephard.
Thanks, Kelly. What a lovely introduction.
Thank you. I heard you done performing arts when you was at college.
I did, yeah. That's exactly what I did.
What made you choose performing arts?
Well, I did an A-level in theatre studies initially, probably because my mum has always been really passionate about acting and performing. So me and my brother and my sister were all very into it all. I just loved the chance to perform. I loved being on stage. I loved playing characters. I started learning about different playwrights, everything that was involved in it. You know what it's like when you get on the stage and you do something and the response you get from people, good or bad. I loved that, the immediacy of it as well. You can really sense if something's going well. If it goes bad, you hear them laugh or you hear them walk out. If it's going well, they're really with you. And then I went to university and I did a degree in dance and theatre arts. And I ended up doing 3 years of contemporary dance. So I ended up dancing for 3 years of my life, me and 16 girls, which was tough.
Yeah, it's been really hard.
But an amazing experience because it was really creative and I got to sort of indulge an area of my life that I would never have had a chance to do. And fortunately, I was then able to go and use the experience that I had as a performer to get into television.
Lovely. What was your favourite play, or is your favourite play, and character to play?
Gosh, I wouldn't know my favourite character. I've done tons of plays as a kid. I haven't done them for many years. I've always loved Shakespeare though, and I think King Lear would be my favourite play to watch and to read. I just think it's such an incredible storyline and the characters are so powerful. To play, when I was about 11 at my school, we did Joseph in His Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat and I played Pharaoh, and I still have the costume that I wore when I was 10 or 11. It's at my mum's house in my bedroom, my old bedroom. And every now and again I get it out and show my little boys, because my little boys are 7 and 5 now, and they love it because it's this shiny silver baseball jacket. So he was probably the favourite character that I got to play.
Yeah, it's such a cool character.
Cool, crazy character.
Yeah. How did you feel when you first got noticed?
When I first got noticed, some of your mates were asking me this earlier. We've been doing some cooking, teaching everyone to cook shepherd's pie for our 5x25 campaign. And they were saying, you know, what's it like getting noticed? And I don't think it's something you realise. It's not something that happens overnight. Don't for a minute think, if you want to get into television, if you want to be an actor, if you want to be a dancer, just like any other career, it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of doing the hours, a lot of putting the time in. So how did it feel? The first opportunity I got, I did an audition, which was for GMTV's old kids show. They used to have a kids show called Digging It. And I did a screen test with Fern Cotton. Of course, everybody knows Fern now, when she was only 16. So this was years ago. And that was the first opportunity I got. And the important thing about getting an opportunity, no matter what it is, whether you're going into law, whether you're going into medicine, whether you're going into acting, whether you're going into dancing, whether you're going into the law, you know, police force, anything, you have to take advantage of that opportunity. Because those opportunities don't come on very often. And I was lucky enough to meet some people who then went on to employ me at Channel 4. And then it's a slow, gradual process. Unless you're really, really lucky and you have an amazing break, or you try and go into a reality TV show and you get some exposure massively, it doesn't happen overnight. So I'm not really sure I can put my finger on when I first felt like I was being noticed necessarily. And I don't really consider that a part of my job now. I'm really lucky because I do a job that I love. I get to meet tons of people, which is something that I really enjoy. I get to meet people like yourself and your friends here at the college, at City College. I get to meet politicians and footballers now and movie stars, and I love finding out about them, being inquisitive. That side of it, the notoriety side of it, about being on telly, that's something that is a really nice byproduct, that I can come and do this stuff today, but it's not the reason I got into it. Occasionally, it can be a little bit intimidating. You know, if you go into the wrong place and people recognise you and they start screaming or shouting, but usually I'd say 95% of the time it's really, really great. Sometimes it can be a bit of a pain if I'm having dinner with the wife and someone comes over and wants to say hello and stuff. They're usually very polite about it. She doesn't like it as much because we might have a romantic dinner and she might be telling me off for something. So it gives me a good excuse. But I'd say it's a very small price to pay for getting to do a job that I love.
On that note, did you get much female attention?
Not that I would notice. I've always been, I grew up in Essex, so I should be really across that sort of stuff. You know what the story about Essex girls are like. But I was rubbish. I went to a boys' school, and I never had that many girlfriends. And then I went to university, and I met my wife 19 years ago now. So we met at university. So we've been together for a very long time. I get some very lovely letters and emails, and I get a lot of my friends coming up and saying my mum really likes you. And that's about as far as it goes. It's always very flattering when anybody shows any interest, but it's usually pretty paternal when it comes down to it, or maternal.
I'm sure there's more than that.
I have to take your word for that, Kelly.
What was your favourite thing that you presented?
Oh, God, tons of things. I was hosting the Olympic parade, which finished on Monday at Buckingham Palace, which was just incredible. Honestly, I don't think I'll ever do anything like that. But if I were to go back, the Extra Factor, I was the first host of the Extra Factor when the X Factor first started for 3 years. We kind of broke the mould for sister shows, and we got over 2 million viewers to ITV2, which is still a massive audience, and this was early 2000s, so that was pretty great. I loved working on GMTV, if not the hours. I was getting up about 3:30, so that was pretty painful, but the gang that I worked with were great. And now I get to work in football, which is something that I'm really passionate about. So there's been loads of amazing things over the years, but this summer, particularly with the Olympics, hosting that Olympic parade finale at Buckingham Palace was very special.
That's got to be right up there.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Who would you say your inspiration is?
So, you know, there's plenty of people I've worked with over the years. Kate Garraway, I learned a lot from Kate. I think she's a fantastic broadcaster. Mad as a box of frogs. Couldn't organise her way out of a paper bag, but an incredible broadcaster. But some of the things I love doing is interviewing people, so I just have to look at people like Michael Parkinson. I think is an incredible example of somebody who has a genuine interest in other people and interested in finding out about them, which is something that I love doing.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of chat shows at the moment who are really entertaining, but it's all about the questions. I love the answers. The answers are what fire me up. So he would probably be the main guy that I look up to. But then I love broadcasters like Chris Evans. I think his enthusiasm and his passion are fantastic. I've always loved Richard Madeley. I think he has a great sense of awareness about what's going on in the world. I think he's great. Richard Bacon on Radio 5 at the moment is fantastic. I think Fern is brilliant. So I think there's a myriad of broadcasters and presenters that I look up to. And that's before I start on sportsmen as well that I admire. So, but they would be some of the broadcasters that I really love.
Oh, he got me good marks for my art because I drew a picture of his face, Michael.
Michael Parkinson?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. He's a winner all round.
Yeah. Who would you say your favourite famous person is?
That I've met?
Yeah.
Crikey. I'm good friends with Robbie Williams because we play Soccer A together. Yeah. He always picks me for his team, so I've got to say him. Otherwise, I might not get picked in the next few years. I don't know. There's tons of people, and I get to meet a lot of people, and some of them are great mates. Some of them I don't. You get to meet very briefly, like this, like we're having an interview, and then you have a really good laugh, and then you go. But yeah, Robbie, Paddy McGuinness is a good friend. All the guys I work with on GMTV. Chris Kamara, who I work with. Some of the guys that love Sky Sports will know who Cammy is because he's a character. He's a very, very good friend of mine. And then, you know, beyond that, they're people that I meet very transiently, so for a few minutes here and there. And there's been some pretty extraordinary people I've met, from world leaders to, you know, Madonnas and Guy Ritchies and Tom Cruises of this world as well. It's kind of crazy list. Will Smith. If you want to know the best person in the world to interview, Will Smith is without doubt the best person in the world to interview. He's always bang on it, really up for it. You get some people that are quite difficult to interview. Meatloaf was very hard to interview. He wouldn't leave the TV studio. Jean-Claude Van Damme kept trying to karate chop me throughout the interview. That was tricky when you're live. But Will Smith is always a diamond to interview. Kim Cattrall as well. I've got a soft spot for Kim.
Oh.
Yeah.
Women again then?
Yeah.
Whose numbers do you have? Famous people.
In my phone?
Yeah.
I've got a lot of footballers now because I work in football.
Who's like the most famous person you've got on your phone?
Robbie, maybe.
Oh, you have Robbie Williams' number.
Peter Kay. I did some filming with Peter Kay a while back. Peter's a great guy. Got on very well, Peter. Gary Barlow. Yeah, would they count? I don't know.
Might just want to steal your phone later.
It's ran out of battery. It's a blooming iPhone. It's got no battery power, so it's gone. It's dead.
I'm sure I'll find a charger. What advice would you give to like young people that's trying to break out into the industry?
perseverance is so key. You've got to be ready to do anything you can to try and get that opportunity. If you get that opportunity, grasp it. If you get some work experience, which is how I started getting off work experience working as a runner, just make sure you become indispensable. So you'll do anything you're asked, you'll do more, use your initiative, make tea, be a brilliant tea maker. If you go and work in a TV production company, you can do no wrong if you make a great cup of tea, and be proactive. You might get an opportunity, don't just sit there and let things come to you. Don't bug people, but just make sure they know you're keen to learn.
Yeah.
And any opportunity that comes your way, grasp it with both hands, because you get the chance to knock on doors all the time. Every now and again, one of those doors might open, but you've got to be able to stick your foot in the door to make sure they don't close it. And once you're in, who knows where it will lead.
When you said make the tea, milk first or after?
Milk after for me, but bear in mind, a lot of these TV production companies have very bad tea making facilities. My wife would be furious with me for saying milk after as well. She's milking first.
Yeah.
Hot water,
She's a right woman.
She knows what she's doing.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for taking the time and talking to me.
My pleasure.
And this has been City TV.